called the MUJDK. We are looking at the defense against the rear naked chokehold, standing up, all right, because somebody actually pointed out that once you go to the ground, that will never work. Fair call. But that pulled up the traditional technique, which basically looks like 2 hands coming up and then trying to grab hold of the arm that's holding onto you or choking onto you, and then controlling the opponent who's more or less standing on the back of you or to the side a little bit. And what we're trying to do today is to make sense of that from various different holds and various different tactical goals that you want. So sometimes you want to have the opponent between you and another oncoming combatant, as opposed to just trying to practice one method of exploring a technique. So the other day, Josh, can I have you behind me? So the other day we actually took a look at a chokehold from the back, and we looked at then holding onto the arm, twisting our bodies, and then pulling the person forward and around. And what we wanted to look at was using this technique and dropping this shoulder from the opponent. As you can see, it's starting to squeeze onto my neck. What I want to do is pull this down so that I can still breathe a little bit, drop the shoulder line, and then swing this person around. Once that shoulder line drops out, the effect is from the center, my balance being really in the middle of my base, the center of gravity swings out to the front foot, or the outside foot, swings out of the base and then swings around. One thing that I forgot to mention is that as I lift my hands out and I do this, I'm pulling the hands down but also putting my weight onto the opponent's structure. Meaning that I'm not trying to pull this and I'm not trying to do this, because if I do this, Josh pull, yep, I get a corresponding pull back. So I'm stopping the hand from choking me further. I'm putting my weight onto the opponent. And that's similar to the other instances where we're using this particular hand grip, and then we're then working out. So as I have, bear hug please. I'm then controlling the hand, maybe reaching for the fingers, maybe wrapping the knuckles. It's not that pleasant, and I'm moving my weight onto the back of the opponent, shifting it out again, and then working downward. Same, I wrap, work for the fingers, I put my weight back, I shift to the outside, I can move this way too. One more time. Moving my weight back onto the opponent, wrapping the hands, working on the fingers, I shift, dropping the shoulder line, and I turn. And then I work backwards here. Weight onto the opponent, I grab onto this, I drop if I need to, I spread the legs, and that's a over the hip throw. This one particular move that I'm going to show you is a bit unique and a bit interesting, because I learned it from a Aikijujitsu practitioner who was a very, very high level guy. We are going to change the way that can you stand over here? We're going to change the way our center of gravity balances on the opponent. So grab me and then lift me. Now I can't really drop to the side and back. What I can do, you gotta lift me in the air. What I've got to do is I've got to drop my weight onto the opponent, slide down, and then lift. Then I can drop my shoulder, and then the opponent goes down. This being in the air, what I've got to do is I've got to actually arch my back. I've got to lay my weight onto the opponent, send my leg between his legs, and then slide down. again, holding onto the arms. So as I lift my arms, I fill my lungs and I expand. I start to slide down, and then I let go of my breath and then basically slide down his body. One more time. And then pick me up. I breathe in, open the arms, reach, and then slide down this way. Because my weight is on the opponent, now I get to send the shoulder line down and around. That was what I wanted to actually share with all of you. It's again, we are holding onto the opponent. This hand position and the rotation reminds you to actually flick your weight back onto the opponent structure, and then you are working on that shoulder line. So as you drop your own process, the opponent's shoulder line is affected, and then you actually choose how the opponent's structure should actually fall or be controlled. Once you actually get this and you actually start to fight against the counter, basically then is much more difficult. So if you actually then throw the weight back and then start to modulate where the weight is being placed on the opponent, then there is some modicum of control, then you're starting to be able to manipulate that shoulder line. But otherwise, it's a little bit like this. You are getting your hands up and you're holding on to the opponent. And it's kind of like a reverse waltz. If you actually have danced kind of like a slow classical waltz, when you leave your hands out, you're creating a frame. This creates a frame from the opponent, but the opponent is behind you. And then you're able to manipulate his structure by moving your structure left and right. Thank you very much. Josh, you want to add anything?
I was just thinking about it in terms of the seesaw analogy. So the pivot point, when I pick you up, I'm perfectly balancing you on my hip. The moment when you start to stack your weight and angle on top, it creates an imbalance for me. I'm no longer anchored properly, and there's too much weight on my back, and I have to actually concede. Versus if I was trying to pull forward, it's like you can easily adjust for that, but that's weight stacking in creates a really bad imbalance because I'm no longer balanced on my hip myself. I would actually need to adjust, but I can't now because your weight is now forcing me in this position.
It's very strange, but go and practice it first. Don't knock it till you try it. Otherwise, thank you very much.